Welcome, everybody, to 73 Degrees. This is a podcast where we talk about making the perfect environment for our clients. I'm Stacey Graves with Edit Design House. I'm here with Scott Martineau from Martineau Homes, and we're so excited to hear from him about what makes his perfect environment for his clients. And where the 73 comes from is each of us has kind of an intimate relationship with our thermostat. Everyone's got their perfect number. Mine's 73. But in this business, I have to be able to set aside what I love and what's perfect for me and really get in tune with what my client loves. So Scott, tell us a little bit, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about making the perfect environment for a client?
You know, our business has been around quite a while and we've been building for quite a bit. Took it over from my dad years ago and he created what I kind of felt like was that perfect degrees of whatever it might be. And it's communication for us. Communication is probably high on the list for whatever we're doing, whether we're working with subcontractors, trades, suppliers, and homeowners. Is upfront communication to understand each other, be on the same wavelength. So when things happen, we're all on the same page and the same understanding.
I love that. I think like one of the things that we really try to do with our clients is make sure that whatever we show them and they think they're getting is what you are building, right? It's kind of that communication goes a long way in making sure that what they think they're going to get is what they actually get.
No surprises.
Yes.
No surprises.
Yeah. Only like stuff can be better than you imagine, but you don't want it to be different than you imagine.
We like the wow factor,
yes,
but we like the, oh, geez, I didn't expect that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think you guys are really good about that. You have kind of a couple of tools that you use for communication. I think number one is your staff. We just recently finished a project together we call it the Artisan Estate Project. Our clients love their artwork, and this was really the center of like what gave the home a heartbeat from our end on the design end. And one of the things we loved about your team was the person that you had on site working, and he was always good about kind of a three-way communication between you guys and the client and us. So we think that's huge.
Yeah, it's important. I think communication on the job site and having someone there, your eyes and hands and ears happening on the job site as the contractor is important. We see a lot of projects go south when contractors aren't present. You know, we hire tradesmen, we hire professionals, but sometimes they need a lot of direction.
Yeah.
And the more complicated the job, the more direction they need.
Absolutely. And talk to us about kind of the level of home you're in. So this isn't like a quick out of the box, build a house for walls and paint. Tell us kind of about what your homes are like.
So we specialize in custom luxury housing and have been for quite a while. So most of our homes are upwards of 5 to 15,000 square feet, kind of a big range. Yeah. In the multi-million-dollar level is what we do and specialize in. We dive into several remodels a year. We kind of like that aspect. We like to kind of think and challenge outside of just building from scratch. And so the remodel, like this project we worked on together, is kind of a fun way to kind of test yourself. You're kind of locked in with walls and some other stuff, and we're working inside an envelope already. And so that's kind of our expertise in what we do, and we love it.
I love it. And I think this particular home, there was a suggestion right at the very first of, hey, if we want to shake it up and we want it to feel different, what if we rearrange these walls and what if we move these things and put a fireplace over here? And we kind of leaned into it for a minute. And then we actually backed off and said, hey, why don't we preserve the budget and say, you know, the flow of the home works. Yeah. It was designed really well to begin with. And we're going to kind of lean into just the home itself, but how do we make it feel entirely like a different space? And I think that's a cool challenge to get into. And I think the kitchen especially is one of those spaces where you thought, I mean, it's a big room. It's situated a certain way. How can we make it feel different? And I think it's totally different from before.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like you wouldn't even know you're in the same house.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. That house was so fun. And remind me, did this client work with you previously?
So we had worked on and off, not on a specific project with this client, but we actually had been 10 plus years talking to this client. They'd bought a lot from us years ago. We designed a full house with them through architecture. We costed it out. We were, I think, close to building the house. And then he had a job change and they went somewhere else for a while and back and forth. But it was 10 plus years in the making of a relationship, back and forth and discussing little things here and there. And all of a sudden it was, okay, this is what we're doing. And there we landed. So
I love it.
Wasn't just overnight.
So what do you think in a world where people can instantaneously have something, right? Like, hey, this is a cool pair of shoes. I have it. It's going to be on my doorstep tomorrow. A house obviously is not that way. And like you were just saying, a relationship with a client is not that way either. So what are some of the things that you think encourage or inspire people to continue coming back to you? Because that 10 years is a long time to change your mind about a lot of things.
Right. You know, honestly, I think it's just the end result in our product. We've been around a long time. We've proven ourselves that quality really matters, and the high quality, and it takes time to get that high quality. And when people understand that and see it, and they've understood that we're there, we're not going anywhere. We've talked for this year and following years. We keep talking, and we're there to help them and figure it out, regardless if it's happening right now or happening 5 years down the road. We're still in business. We're still there, and walking them through the process. So.
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to whatever it is you guys have been doing, whatever that secret sauce is, the fact that the business lasted all the way through your dad, all the way down to you. And it's got this great legacy. It's got this great momentum. Yeah,
it's been fun. And people like this particular project. It's fun to realize that, hey, what we're doing makes a difference. What we do and how we do things. And I wish we were perfect. We have those moments when it's like, oh, geez, we needed to handle that differently. And hopefully we learn from that and move on. And that's kind of how our business evolves and moves and changes with the times, because we're definitely a different business than we were 10 years ago when we first met them, but hopefully for the better.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you've got some great tools in place. Right on your website, it talks about how, hey, step one is kind of we get to know each other. And then number two, we learn to communicate, like this is a resource. This is a place where everybody is speaking the same language. And you kind of train your clients on how to speak your language too. A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of our business. We call it the pre-construction phase. Everything that happens for pre-construction before we actually start building, from concepts on napkins and paper to actually taking pictures and talking about things and visiting houses and touching and feeling things is a big part of it. And I think people miss the boat on that quite a bit in the building world, where it's like, hurry, we have this house, it's on paper, go, let's build it. And there's so much that needs to happen before then. And we've found that you take the time to dive into that, learn and understand what makes people tick. What does their family really need? What do they need as a client? What do they need in their home? And try and get on the same wavelength and go from there.
Yeah. And I think the exact thing that would make someone super happy is going to be the exact same thing that would turn someone off to a project, right? So kind of getting used to those nuances and learning how to figure that out with a client. We have one client who does not want to entertain. They do not want to cook. They want an intimate, cozy spot. And then we have other clients who want everybody in the neighborhood to come over. And how do we accommodate this many people? So taking that time to kind of learn their nuances is really important.
Yeah. Understanding who they are and what each space will be used for as a family is an important part, especially even before you finish designs.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you find yourself involved in the design work? Because there's a kind of a clear line between, hey, this is the architect, this is the design team, this is the builder. How do you find yourself a good balance, and where do you go with that?
The biggest thing for me there, when you bring a builder in and a designer and an architect, you got to trust each other. Everybody has a role to play, but we got to work in the same sandbox together.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's a big part of what we do outside of our work with the client, right? The builder and the architect and the designer, they've got to figure it out, and they've got to understand each other with the client's needs. Most important up front. I think when you can find that team and then find the three that mesh together really well, it makes for a great project.
I love that. We always do this thing where we sit down with a builder and we'll kind of interview them on, I think interior designers can get a little bit of a bad rap of being maybe like a prima donna, or you have to do things this certain way, right? And so we really make a point, as we're trying to get to know builders and architects and clients as well, sitting down to lunch and saying, all right, what is it that you've had a great experience with a designer? What are some of the challenges that you've had? And over, communication is a really big one, because at the end of the day, you're trying to put together something that we've been scheming out with the client. And it makes it really challenging, I'm sure, to try and put together something when you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So as you have worked with designers, what have been a couple of the ways that you think they've been helpful in making you get a good product for your client?
So I'd say first and foremost, their ability to flex and move as we need them to. Drawings help a ton. I have someone that actually draws something out. It's pretty great, and it makes an important part of a firm, I think.
Yeah.
And once it's on paper, doesn't mean it can necessarily be built.
Sure.
And
that's a good point.
And so a designer that understands our capabilities with materials and products and what we can and can't do, and lots of times in Utah, we're dealing with elements outside.
Sure.
And so those are really important to me as a builder. We got to protect the home from water and ice and snow. And a designer that understands that and sees that and says, hey, this is our idea. And we come back and say, well, we can do this, this, and this, but we need to substitute this, or we need help with this. And I think flexibility to move and understand where we're coming from and our ability to do the same for the designer is a big part of that teamwork and ability to give a unique finished product for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, you want to make sure you give a product that lasts as well. You don't want to build a home that's great on day one, but doesn't last a season.
Yep.
You want something that's going to last years and years to come.
Yeah.
That's kind of the difference, I think, too, between a really nice quality, high-end custom home is you're thinking 10 years down the line when you're putting something together for the first time.
Yeah. And I love my guys that are on site that work for us, our superintendents and the guys that work for me as well as the tradespeople. It's so nice to get their input.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we'll work with a client, we'll work with a designer, an architect, and we'll bring it in and then we'll actually take it out to them and say, okay, this is what we're thinking, what are your concerns or what do you see in this? And it's nice to feel, a cabinet guy in particular. It's like, hey, this is what we want. This is the finish we want. What do you think about this? And to get their input because they are the experts. Yeah.
And that's one of our favorite things is to lean into them being the expert. I think as a designer, we have both the challenge and the blessing of being able to wear every single hat. Like, I have to kind of think about how this is going to go together and how it's going to look and what this material is. But at the end of the day, we don't do just that all day long. So cabinetry, for instance, we're going to sit down with a concept that we think is really great and they kind of straighten us out sometime. And we love that because we feel like that helps us learn something about what makes a kitchen cabinet better or a bathroom cabinet better. We come away having learned when we lean into them being the expert in their field.
Yeah, I think it's a big part of being a team player. We look at all our subs and trades and people that work with us as part of our team.
Absolutely.
And to rely on them and their expertise is real important. It makes for a better house always.
Yeah, one of our things that is really important for our firm is never throwing anyone under the bus and leaning into the fact that everybody really is part of a big team. We're only as good as everybody else. So I can put a beautiful design on paper, but if I don't have a good relationship with you or I don't have a good relationship with whoever's actually turning it into something, it may not turn into anything remotely close to what I have on paper. And so we've always made it a huge priority to say, even if a client comes in and they're frustrated with something, we try and hear them and then come back around to you and say, okay, so here's one thing that we think, information that you should know to help you do a better job.
Yeah.
And we always try to hold up your reputation when we're talking to the client as well as everybody else. We try to take responsibility as much as we can too. So that's important for us.
Yeah. Ownership on the job is pretty important. And we concur with those same philosophies completely. Yeah. It's nice. And, it takes everybody, from the labor that's being paid minimum wage on up to the business owners to really execute and make, a unique plan really happen. And so
I love it.
That's good.
Yeah, cool. All right. So we just have a few minutes left. Let's talk about the parade, right? Okay. We're in parade season here in Utah. If you're not in Utah and you're unfamiliar with the Parade of Homes, it's kind of this thing where people build amazing homes and then they open it up to the public graciously so people can come see what's going on. It's very cool for them to get to see your work. It's also very cool for everybody to get to see what kind of trends are going on. Oftentimes there's a client involved. Sometimes it's a spec home. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on right now.
Yeah, we've been away from the Parade of Homes scene for a couple of years and decided we need to get back in and build ourselves a house. So we started a spec home last year. Up in Huntsville, and we partnered with a financial group and a developer to build this home. God, we've worked really hard and came up with a really cool finished product. I think and it's fun. It's not over the top. It's not crazy, but it's a really nice, high quality, beautiful home.
Absolutely. Okay, so in the energy of trying to talk about making the perfect environment, what kind of challenges or what success have you had in trying to create this perfect environment for someone who doesn't quite exist, right? It's a homeowner, but you don't know them yet. So what have you done to kind of warrant that?
So the hardest part, with a spec home is trying to figure out how do we appeal to the masses in a sense, and how do we make this appealing to a lot of people, not just one specific client. And to be honest, we don't do a lot of spec homes.
Yeah.
So we don't specialize in that. We're very custom in particular working with our clients. And so we kind of had to stretch outside of our box and rely on our design team that was doing this project with us and really trust them that, there was a few times in there that I just said, no, we're not doing that. And they said, yes, we are. and I said, okay, fine. And I did not like it.
Sure.
And I ate crow at the end of the day. I like that house kind of finished out and I walked through some of those spaces and I was like, I was so against this. And I stand in here now and it's pretty amazing. So it was a good lesson for me. And it was a fun experience to go through that and understand, hey, there's a few things where it was like, I don't think we should do this. And they're like, okay, we'll go with you there on.
Yeah.
And so they were great to work with me and work on those things that were a little bit I was reluctant to do.
Sure.
But at the same token, I kind of had to give in and do a little bit for them. And at the end of the day, we threw the furniture in that house last week, and it was pretty neat.
Love it. And I think there's definitely this balance between having something that appeals to everybody, but also feels special, right?
Yeah.
Because it can't be so vanilla that there's nothing interesting about it. And I think when people come in a parade home, especially, they want to feel something that makes them connect with the home.
For sure. Yeah.
So good on you for kind of leaning into a couple of those things. I love it. A couple of last things that we want to kind of chat about. What if somebody was going to say, makes you stand out against all other builders? There's a lot of them out there. What reasons do you perceive? Because maybe someone will tell you like, oh, you're a good price, or, oh, my cousin used you and had a great time. What's the thing that you think like we do really well at this? This is why people connect and choose us.
So at the end of the day, our end goal is two major things. One is provide them the highest quality of home that they could possibly have that's going to last the ages. And I think we do a really good job at that. And our quality is top notch, and you can't beat it. And we rely on our trades and our suppliers and our in-house guys just to perform and do things right. And the last thing that we do that I think, is at the end of the day, we want to be friends with our clients. We want to walk away, feeling like, hey, they got the best service, they got everything they wanted, and they're happy with us. Mm-hmm. And they could call us up and say, hey, you want to go to dinner?
Yes.
Or whatever it might be. We just want a great relationship. At the end of the day, it's hard to get that during a stressful, high energy build job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the end goal for us is to do that and walk away friends.
Yeah. And I think you've absolutely done that. We get a little insight from our clients where they talk about you candidly, and they've always had only good things to say. So we've had a great experience as well working with you and collaborating. So thank you so much for the good work that you've done, helping our ideas come to life in a really beautiful way and helping our clients be happy.
Oh, thank you. It's been a phenomenal project.
I love it. Cool. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. This is Scott Martineau with Martineau Homes. We're so happy to have had him and worked with him and made beautiful homes together. So thanks so much for joining us, and all you guys take it easy.